Well, hello everybody. This is Tim Green with Rattle Magazine. Welcome to Rattlecast. No, not Rattlecast. Poetry Spawn Live. I can't even tell what day of the week it is. That's how things are going around here. But yeah, this is Poetry Spawn Live. Thanks so much for joining me. As always, this is our open mic for current events poems. So if you'd like to share a poem about anything that's going on in the news right now, feel free to join us. The idea is always just to, every Saturday morning for the last 7 years now, I've been reading a whole slew of poems about current events. We publish one or two on rattle.com, but it's just great reading all these poetic responses to what's going on in the world. And so it's great to be able to share that along to everybody else in the audience who'd like to read more poems and get their news this way, which is a much better way than watching CNN or Fox or something like that. So let's get started. And unfortunately, today's poet said she would like to join us, but never gave me the phone number or Skype address. So maybe Nardine will email me sometime during the show, and maybe we can get her on. I'm not sure, but I don't have any way to call her right now, so I think we'll have to skip that. But let's just share this poem. But before we do that, let me let you know how to go about doing this. Oops. This is the one. So if you submitted your poem through Submittable already, then I can pull it up there. So if it was a poem you submitted last week or something, or months ago, even if you'd like to share something that's older and still relevant, feel free to not worry about getting me the poem again unless you've updated it since. But if it's a newer poem, if you've revised it since you submitted it, email it right now to openmic@rattle.com. That's openmic@rattle.com. Then choose one option or the other. You can either call in over video through Skype, or you don't even have to use video. You can just do audio through Skype too. But my Skype ID is Rattle Poetry. Just type that into the search bar. I'll come up, say hi, wave to me. I'll wave back, and then I'll call you. That's how you get onto the calling list. The other option is to do it by regular phone. The phone number is 818-850-7727. That's 818-850-7727. Just call, let it ring a few times, and hang up. We already have, we have two new first-time callers lined up. That would be, that would be Philip 2 and Ziggy Lowenberg. So we have two people lined up that are new. We already have a whole slew of regular listeners. We have Angela, Nivedita, Karen Warinsky, Richard Westheimer, Margie Tomsick, who's becoming a regular. Good to see you too, Margie. So if you'd like to join us, that's how you do it right here. But now, before we do that, let us look at today's poem. And unfortunately, like I said, we couldn't get Nardine here. I just thought this was such a powerful poem, though. There's so many great lines in this. I'll read, it's of course about what's going on in Israel and Palestine right now, and the Free Palestine protest that Nardine Taleb, our poet here, was a part of on, I believe it would have been Friday, she said. And here is her poem. I'll read her note first, though. This is the note that goes along with it from Nardine Taleb. I wrote this poem for Palestine in light of the recent violence against the people and children there. I felt standing at the Free Palestine protest this week that it's easy to live my life turning a blind eye to injustice. I went to the protest to demonstrate that I will not take the easy route. Standing next to me was an older lady. As she chanted, she was crying, and I could see in her eyes that she couldn't believe it. People cared about her people who were dying. How long had she waited for someone to care? I wrote this poem with that heartbreak in mind. And here's her poem, which is today's poem on rattle.com. You can read it right now, but I'll read it since Nardine can't be here. If we get her on, we'll talk to her and let her read it. But I'll do it for now. My great-grandmother carved her name on this door. A boy lost his father. This is no lost tooth. That burning mosque is not a burning building, but a set of blistering arms. I'm so sick of myself. If I must fail, then let it be at complicity. This time I can't look at my reflection without seeing what I am, a torch. Look at me. I'm not here. I'm at the foot of the house where the soldiers spit at my father. I put a cigarette to my skin and I rupture. You are not taking me mute. I've got a tongue to prove what I already know, that silence is just noise rubbing its hands together. What is there to be silent about? Everything has already been said, except the way I have to say it. This land is my body, this land is my body, this land is my body. My great-grandmother carved her name in this door. I'm not leaving. My people in the streets are dying like people. 2 guns at my throat like a new set of eyes. Once again, that was today's poem. My great-grandmother carved her name on this door by Nardine Taleb. And now let's move on to the other poem. We have 2 poems this week. The second one isn't out yet, but if you watch Poetry Spawn Live, you get a preview. And this is a poem. This is our first time we've ever published an Estonian poet. This is Triin Paja from Estonia. And she uses this article. Let's see. The article is in Estonian, but Google Translate describes it like this. Video: in Latvia, a wolf was left in front of the camera, rescuing his puppies. And maybe I'll read Triin's note to explain it, and then I'll show the video so you can see what's going on. But this is by Triin Paja. In Latvia, a man operating a harvester films a wolf saving her offspring from under felled trees and rubbish. I live in Estonia, which neighbors Latvia, and deforestation is becoming a wider issue each year. Both here and there, it is not rare to read news about barren and confused and at times rare animals amidst deforestation. There is some deepening fear and anxiety in us, in our small country, hailed for their oldest forests and wildlife. Follow the route of many other European countries, which leads to forests stripped bare and much of the wildlife gone extinct. Already in my own poetry expressing this anxiety, I discern that it is not anxiety alone, it is also grief. Then here, we'll look at this video, a little bit of this video anyway. There's a YouTube video here this farmer filmed. And so, this is a clear-cut forest and a wolf here rescuing her pups among the loggers. So for everybody at home, I think the wolf is approaching through the brush there, yeah. Of course, everybody at home. Where else would you be? But, yeah, so maybe I'll skip forward a little bit. So the pups are in this, underneath these logs which have been felled just recently by a clear-cutting operation. You can even hear the beeping in the background. And, yeah, so she's rescuing her pups from this clearing that was just cleared. Anyway, so that is the poem we're going to be looking at here by Tria. And here it is. Here it is, Triin reading it. Oh, hang on. Why is that not working? Yeah, my computer had an update. If you watched Critique of the Week on Friday, I was having some trouble because my computer did one of those updates, and all the settings got let's see. Let me see if this works. Hang on a second. That's not working. Bear with me, I'm sorry. Yeah, all the settings were reset. So I have to change. Let's see if this will work. There we go.
A charcoal.
Okay, let me start from the beginning. So this is, again, Triin Paja with clear cutting.
Clear cutting. In Latvia, a charcoal wolf with fur like smoke rescues her cubs, bundled under felled trees, masked in the emerald potsherds from trees tall as lighthouses. Now stumps, marred root, nest dust. One by one, she carries her children, grasping them gently with her young moon teeth. She could be a silver-haired mother, digging for her children in a bombed city. The wind is the largest room she knows, and it is growing.
Yeah, so that was Triin Paja, and I just love that ending. The wind is the largest room she knows, and it is growing. And of course, environmental, the loss of habitat is such a big problem, just overall, in the human race. Fortunately, we're population will peak in our lifetimes if you're young enough. So maybe we'll get back on the right track and let nature have its diversity too. But just a beautiful poem there by Trian Paja about the deforestation going on in Latvia and Estonia. Now let's see what you have to share. No, I haven't mentioned yet, so I'll call a veteran, but I'll call up Philip 2 and Ziggy Lowenberg after that. I'm going to be calling, when I call you, it's a little bit from the future. There's like a 30-second delay on the video. So make sure when your phone rings or your Skype rings, turn off the stream where you're watching this, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. At least hit mute, but it's probably better if you just turn it off altogether, X out, and then come back after you're done. And you can see yourself at the end a little bit if you do that, because otherwise there's two Tims in your ear. It gets confusing. It's just like talking to somebody on a radio show where they always say turn down the volume on your radio. It's the same kind of thing here. So turn down the volume on your listening device, whatever that is, if you're watching live and participating in the open mic. But now let's go to Angela Gardner first. She is first in line. And, let's see.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, Angela, how you doing today? Oops, hang on one second. I got you doubled. There you go. And how you doing today?
Good. No video.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
I'm video ready today, so.
That's okay. I'm never video ready, but I don't let that stop me. So, what do you want to share with us today?
I submitted the Bee Detective, and I forgot a comma when I sent it originally, so I resent it. But basically, it's a poem about, so this laboratory is using bees. So they kind of capture the bees, and they're using bees to kind of sniff out the COVID, to sniff out COVID diagnosis. Because in some countries, they are thinking, this might be an easier way to test for COVID. Mm-hmm. And so they're using bees. So a bee sticks out his tongue instinctively when he gets to the pollen. And when he kind of sees that sugar, or actually bees, all worker bees are girls. But anyway, so when she does that, then they're kind of testing it. And they actually, it's funny because this is not, when I was reading this story, I was amazed at these scientists who are using bees to this kind of stuff. There's actually bomb sniffing bees as well. That if you look it up, so they kind of put them in this little box, and then they it's like this screen, and they see, and they if they smell like a bomb, their tongue will stick out, and they train these bees to do this. And I thought it was fascinating, but on the flip side, I'm like, is this a really good use of time to do with bees? Especially if there's so many, bees are so important to their environment, and there's so many people who are trying to save the bees and the honey. And, it's kind of when I wrote the poem, I was kind of thinking, the honeybee almost represents Mother Nature too, in a way, because there's so much, with this COVID, we should start reassessing the environment and what we do with it. And that's the thing, every time every time we do this big thing, we want to get back to normal, right? We want to get back to normal, but should we be getting back to normal and start thinking broader that maybe we should take care of the environment a little bit better? So I don't know. I just feel like we're all about ourselves, and we got to take care of everyone in the environment, not just us.
Yeah, for sure. And this was a fascinating story. I can't show it because it's paywalled on WAPO, and I may or may not have gone around the paywall to read it. I can neither confirm nor deny. But it was fascinating. So if anybody has a WAPO subscription and can read it, go ahead and read that, because I had no idea that bees had this capability and we could use them this way. And yeah, and that is it. Bring up too that question of colony collapse disorder, which I haven't heard people talk about much lately. I don't know if getting rid of certain pesticides has helped, or the one thing that was going on with that was a lot of the times it was these beekeepers that go from farm to farm and travel with their beehives. And those were the ones who were having problems, like building up the different pesticides that everybody was using. So maybe they found a better way to do that solved the problem a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is with that. But it was fascinating information, hearing about bees sniffing out COVID and other things. I had no idea.
Yeah, look on YouTube about the bomb sniffing bees. That was really interesting because this whole lab, it's like they were going around they could, and I mean, they were saying that it worked, and they just train them with sugar water, and then they get awards. But then at the end, then they dissect them. So it's like we trap them. I mean, I'm not calling bee abuse or anything, but it's just definitely, it's like, to me, like, we use animals and I wrote this in my thing, we use animals and insects for our own purpose, but it's kind of like, we need to remember to I want to remember to take care of them. We need to make sure that we're also taking care of them. They can help us, but we need to help them too. So
yeah, for sure. Well, let's hear this poem. This is The Bee Detective. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
She flies to hunt the syrupy food. The worker honeybee doesn't rest and relishes in the hive servitude. A long black vacuum whooshes overhead. She's squeezed in a box and taken from her nest. Baited with sugar water, her training begins. The other captured bees stands to socialize. Stick out your tongue or we will pull off your wings. Sniff for human diseases while mobilized. The swab is shoved in her face and reflex kicks in. Her life is short. She's torn apart from the sun, the flowers, her friends, and the queen. She dreams of filling the honeycombs and misses the colony filled with drones. A long absence means all will feel the sting.
Thanks for sharing that, Angela. Excellent poem and excellent a topic too. Very interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was cool too. So, but great. Well, I hope you have a great Sunday.
Yeah, thanks. You too. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye. It was Angela Gardner with The Bee Detective. And let's see. So we have we have a whole bunch of first-time callers now. So once again, when I call, make sure you mute your stream so that you don't get confused. But I will call up first Philip 2, and then Ziggy Lowenberg, and then we have two other first-timers, Mayren Muzaffar and Shraddha Qatar. We also have a 440 number, so I'll call that too. So we have at least 5 first-timers. We'll get back to the veterans after that, but let's call up Philip 2 next. Then I'll find Philip's poem as we go.
The person whom you're trying to reach is currently...
Okay, well, we'll circle back to Philip. Let's go instead to Ziggy Lowenberg.
Person who you're trying to reach.
Oh, man. So, let's see. So both, it might be that you guys have your ringers off. These are your first-time callers, so I don't know. Maybe the people who are know what they're doing can know what's going on, but both of them were not answering. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, so Ziggy's typing. Let's see. We'll wait for what she says. Okay, let's try it again.
Hello.
There we go. Hello. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm a little nervous with Skype. I use Zoom, but I haven't used Skype. So
yeah, no problem at all. I just Skype's a little better for the streaming system I have here because you can filter the video right into my producer instead of like through different layers of programs. But anyway, if you want to appear on screen, there's the camera button is between the hang up and the mute. There's a little icon there. Here you come. Hello, perfect. Yeah, so you're on the screen. I hear you, and we see you excellently. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Oakland, California right now.
Excellent. And what was your poem about that you'd like to share?
Yellow Wind, and it's about the latest Palestinian-Israeli conflagration and such an ongoing chronic disorder, trying to write about it for years on and off with other things. And this was what I had for this week.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks so much for sharing this. It's one of those topics that it's I don't know, there's lots of, it's hard to get around it. But let's hear Yellow Wind.
Nardine's poem, that was beautiful. That was a special piece.
Well, thank you. Okay, go ahead. I have it up on screen whenever you are ready.
Yellow wind awakes to blood on her hands. Blood flows from an injured heart. She awakes screaming, Kristallnacht! Only there is a fine sand caught in her throat. Halfway round the orb spits a currency of yellow wind, howls through dwellings bulldozed and bombed. Tweet reads, settler mobs are lynching Palestinians and destroying their homes, shops, and places of worship. At 8, she dreamt the Nazis were taking blood from her parents in the other room. She would be called next. She woke to scribble her name and the date on Scotch magic tape, bandaging a piece of toy furniture to be remembered. She is 16 and her TikTok plays, so you're proud of yourself coming here to kill children, confronting soldiers with automatic rifles in the hallway of her apartment building. Imagine that the grandmother who's walking past their grandfather clock with Arabic numbers, coaxing her to be silent, get away from the door, and don't talk to them, put on my scarf, don't look them in the eye. When will you learn? Whose house is being overrun? Whose child is being chased, blinded, murdered? Whose biblical pretext is gaslighting the other? Whose eye for an eye ad infinitum busts out of sockets from a rubber bullet aimed with apartheid intent? Report reads, a Jewish man in his 30s was lynched by protesters who mistook him for an Arab. She was 29, in a kitchen in Oakland, meeting a young Lebanese man who looked more like her cousin than anyone else she had met in California. His growing up years, his family under occupation, the Israeli military, he told her in concise stories, headlines that read backwards, looking in his dark brown eyes. This could be cousin, spinning out a mirror image of what she learned or thought she knew. His words, his lived experience, tore her inside out.
Thanks so much for sharing that. And that poem, that was Yellow Wind by Z. Lowenberg. And that reminds me, this week I saw probably the most, I don't know, the saddest video from Palestine I've seen probably ever. It was a TikTok video. If everybody's seen this, it went viral. But it was 3 kids in a kitchen doing some kind of like TikTok video challenge. Like any kids anywhere would, making pasta, some kind of like cooking show type thing. And then the bombs go off and they, run in terror. And that was just such a heartbreaking thing to watch, and just to see what's unfolding there. So thanks so much for sharing that, Z.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have a good day. And it worked perfectly. So join us anytime you'd like.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
That was Ziggy Lowenberg. From Seattle, I think she said, or Oakland, California, with her poem Yellow Wind. Now let's circle back. Wait, now let's do another first-time caller. Let's call up this 440 number and see who that is. I love the phones because it's like a mystery until you actually call.
Hello?
Hey, this is Tim with Rattle Magazine. You were live on the air. Who am I talking to?
Nardine, actually.
Oh, this is Nardine. Oh, so glad you could call
Hello.
in. Thanks so much. Yeah, for so since we have you on the line now, this is a beautiful poem that you wrote. I mean, it was so moving and just so many wonderful lines. Do you want to talk a little bit about how the poem came to be and what the protests you were at were like?
Sure. So, first of all, I loved the poem that just came before me. But also, honestly, I think this poem was kind of just sitting inside me for a while. It kind of came out of just the experience of feeling like I, have been silent while this violence goes on, and this violence in Palestine has been happening for a while, and so I think this poem has just been sitting inside me. And then when recent events happened and we started seeing videos of kids dying and just really, really sad videos of parents, losing their kids, or just I saw a video of a man who lost his wife and 4 children in a day. And I think so what really sparked it, though, is I was at a protest in Cleveland, and there was an older lady. She was maybe around 60 or 70. She was much older, and we were all chanting, free Palestine, free Palestine. And I could see in her eyes that something like sparked, like she was really crying. And I could tell that, she couldn't believe that we were all out here for her people and for Palestinian people. And so, yeah, that's kind of where it came out of. I think this has been an issue for a while, and it's just really great to see people coming out and supporting and speaking out.
Yeah, it definitely has. And your poem really captures the emotion of the situation. Do you want to go ahead and read it again so we have it in audio in your own words? And I'll add that to the website too.
I would love to.
Okay, I'll put it on screen for everybody once again at home. But this is Nardine reading it in her own voice.
My great-grandmother carved her name on this door. A boy lost his father. This is no lost tooth. That burning mosque is not a burning building, but a set of blistering arms. I'm sick of myself. If I must fail, then let it be at complicity. This time, I can't look at my reflection without seeing what I am, a torch. Look at me. I'm not here. I'm at the foot of the house where the soldiers spit at my father. I put a cigarette to my skin and I rupture. You are not taking me mute. I've got a tongue to prove what I already know. That silence is just noise rubbing its hands together. What is there to be silent about? Everything has already been said except the way I have to say it. This land is my body. This land is my body. This land is my body. My great-grandmother carved her name in this door. I'm not leaving. My people in the streets are dying like people. 2 guns at my throat like a new set of eyes.
Thanks so much, Nardine.
Thank you.
That was, of course, once again, Nardine Taleb with My Great-Grandmother Carved Her Name on This Door. Today's poem at rattle.com. I'm so glad we could talk to you a little bit, Nardine. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. My pleasure. Hope you can join us again soon.
You too. Thanks so much, Tim.
Yep, bye. Okay, yeah, that was Nardine Taleb with the poem of the day. So I'm so glad we could get in touch with Nardine. Now let's go to another. We have 2 more first-time callers. This is Maureen Muzaffer from Kashmir. And let's see if we can get this connection going and find the poem.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing today? This is Tim from Rattle. You're live on the air. What do you have
I'm
for
good.
us?
How are you?
Yeah. And are you in Kashmir? Is that what that's what the
Yes,
thing
I'm
said?
in Kashmir. Yes.
Excellent, great. And what do you have to share with us?
My poem is about Palestine
Mm-hmm.
because of the ongoing crisis, and it has been going for a long time now, more than a decade. But I just wrote about the recent incident which happened in this week.
And did you email me the poem? I'm trying to find it and don't see it.
Oh,
I see it now. I found
haven't-
it here. Never mind. It's the villanelle. That's right. Okay. So I will put it on the screen and go ahead and read whenever you're ready.
Okay. Palestine, a villanelle. Palestine is the autumn land, left alone to burn and char, to shed men like auburn leaves, crumbling with faith in name of love. Let apocalypse thus befall, stone the earth with vengeful star. Prayers are meant to shield, like David's promised 6-pointed star, but they soak their stars in blood. to claim a place with push and shove. Palestine is the autumn land, left alone to burn and char. Masjids were gardens of peace, yet this oppression is bizarre. Turns humble silence to wails of war, courtyards to crimson dove. Let apocalypse thus befall, stone the earth with vengeful star. Odd nights in month of mercy, let's gates of paradise ajar. But they set ablaze the hopeful sky, raining shells from above. Palestine is the autumn land, left alone to burn and char. Eid is all fiesta, with happy children midst bazaar. Feast stands yet haunted, with empty chairs, buried toys, and ripped glove. Let apocalypse thus befall, stone the earth with vengeful star. Their blames of terrorism, with truth of unarmed, seems not at par. Well-built iron dome, to tackle hurled stones, albeit must behave. Palestine is the autumn land, left alone to burn and char. Let apocalypse thus befall, stone the earth with vengeful star.
Thanks so much for sharing that poem. That was Palestine of Villanelle. Thanks so much. I'm so glad you could join us today.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, hope you can join us again soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, and once again, that was Mayreen Muzaffar with Palestine of Villanelle. Next, let's call up another first-time caller. In this, we'll circle back to Philip. Yeah, let's go back to Philip and see if Philip can answer this time. So Philip's ringer must be off. So turn that on again if you would, Philip. Okay, let's go to Shraddha Qatar. Hey, Shraddha, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hi, thanks so much for joining us. Where are you calling from? Hello? Did we drop? Our phone call dropped.
Hello.
Hey, yeah, so the phone dropped for a second, but I think you're back now. And
Yeah.
probably since the connection might not be as strong, let's just stay on video on audio only. What did you write about this week?
Okay, so I wrote about this poem, Her Regretful Wish, which is basically inside us, everyone. Right now, it's about this crisis going on. And it's about the COVID crisis that is going on. And somehow we didn't value our time when the world was actually free about this. So it's all about it.
And the poem is virtual, right?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I have it on screen, so go ahead and read it whenever you are ready.
Okay.
Are you there? Did we drop again?
No, I'm there.
Oh, okay. So go ahead. You have to read your own version if you're waiting for the
Yeah,
video.
I can't actually.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so virtual. These days I sleep early and wake up late, and all day I'm in dreamy state. My brain has become cheese with all this tied virtual leash. I daily intake this electronic weeds because Snapchat, Zoom, WhatsApp, and all have become my daily needs. Life feels like a scary maze. All it has are deadly ends. Face masks and terrific virtuality. I pray this isn't a reality. My body has been hijacked by something. All I want to do is reboot and restart. In this sophisticated social media where no one cares. Maybe somewhere I'm sleeping and having this sweet nightmares. Can I wake up from this horrible dream and escape this virtual confine? Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. Excellent poem, virtual. And so glad you could join us and share that.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was Shraddha Qatar with virtual. And let's see. So we'll circle back to Philip in a little bit. We'll try to get him to answer. But let's go to Nivadita Karthik and see what Nivi had for us this week.
Hello.
Hey, Nivedita, how you doing today?
Hey, Tim. I'm doing great, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing excellent. And what did you want to share?
Yet another fun poem. As always, my Sunday nights and your Sunday mornings.
Uh-huh.
So this is basically about, I think it happened in Chicago, and it's about this cat so there's apparently this building that was on fire, and this cat literally jumped from the 5th floor of the building, landed on its feet, like nailed the perfect landing and ran away. Like it literally landed so beautifully. Like if it was in a contest or something, like 10 on 10 all around. Like it's so amazing to watch.
Well, I want to share this video, so let me see if we can wait for the ad to pass. There's an automatic ad, 6 seconds. And
most of these news stories have something like that.
Well, they got to make money, so I don't really. Okay, here we go. So, okay, perfect. Ready? So I'm gonna show this on screen for everybody. I want to see this cat.
Oh, please do.
Okay, a burning building. Look at that. Wow. Okay, so it's on screen, and there's the cat. Look at that. He jumps. Oh my gosh. It just runs off. How many stories is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? 5?
He was on the 5th floor, apparently. I mean, the news article said 5th floor, so I think they count from, they leave the ground and then go 5 stories up. So whatever it is, I mean, like, can anybody nail such a perfect landing? I don't know. Even other cats, I mean, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, good job. And he spreads himself out like a flying squirrel or something too to kind of float a little bit.
Like one of those base jumpers or something like that who go like this.
Exactly, to sort of Although you know what it proves though, is that whole thing about the cat stuck in a tree.
Cat with 9 lives and everything, and the cat always lands on its feet. I know, I was like, this, like nothing proves this more to a T than this one.
Yeah, okay, well let's hear the poem. I'll put it up.
Basically, I took that cat and just wrote a poem about what it would be like if you had a cat as a pet. From stories, not like I've ever had a cat as a pet, but then hearing people's stories. This is what I think it would be like, or at least it'd be fun if it were like this.
Uh-huh.
The cat. Behold this king with 9 lives. Velvety black as the night sky, with eyes shining like green diamonds, his laser gaze focused on... You can usually find him on the floor, right by the door where the sun slants in, lights up a wedge. And that slice of heaven is his napping ledge. And now me, his human slave, has got him a pillow, fancy bed, and cat perch in tree. Yet he strolls to the window to sit on his new throne. Sigh and a face palm. Of all the things that he could have, he chose the cardboard box the bed came packed in. Now bored, he wishes for a change of pace, and you can find him napping on the chair. My chair? Listen, cat, this chair here is mine, and you need to get off. Hiss. Okay, fine. How about we share? You can sit on my lap as I snooze on the chair. Hiss. Okay, fine, a compromise. I use the chair when you're not on your throne. A shadow glides to the window ledge, silkily, smoothly, and ever so spryly. Crash! Pieces of terracotta litter the floor, and the fern, oh, the poor fern, lists out helplessly like a drunken sailor to the side. Oh, cat, what did you do? Are you just washing your face in the sun? Then how come the leaves are torn apart? Listen here, human. I don't eat salads, as you very well know. Then what are you doing here sitting on the ledge? Not that it's any of your business, but I'm just watching the world self-destruct.
Thanks for sharing that, Nivi. And you captured cats perfect. We have 2. And we have 2 cats and a dog, and the cats, they just have no respect. It's true.
I think especially the part about the human slaves, I think that's been there since, I don't know, like the ancient Egyptian times and everything. Like that, any story about a cat, that's all you hear. Like dogs, if they sit on your spot, you can be like, hey, you know what, move from there, and they'll probably give you the puppies, dog eyes, but then they'll move. Cats are like,
yeah, and our cats have just after 15 years or so we've had them, they learned that they can trick us into feeding them twice. So it took them like 15 years, but for the last month, it drives me crazy. So Megan will feed them, then I'll come out and they'll act like they haven't eaten yet, and I feed them. And now all they do is pester us to feed them twice. They think they deserve twice as much food. So anyway,
I mean, you're put on the world for them, aren't you? It's
Exactly.
not like they're put for you. It's like Oh, you're here to help me. You're here to make my life better.
Exactly.
I'm a cat.
Exactly.
I own you.
Well, you should get one, Nibby. They're great.
I live in an apartment complex, sadly, so it's a tad bit difficult. Maybe when there's a bit more space, animals, they need to sort of be able to roam around. And here, all that's there is a veranda, and which is really not enough. I think, okay, you can get an animal, but at least they should be able to do what they like to do and not be confined in a closed space. So,
yeah,
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
For sure, yeah. Well, thanks, Nibby. Good to see you as always.
Thank you, Tim. Lovely talking to you. Have a nice day.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
It's Nividi Karthik with the cat. Now let's go to Karen Warinsky. Hey, Karen, I hear myself in the background. I'm going to mute you just for a second while you mute that. Okay,
so
well,
is that good? That's good now,
perfect.
I guess?
Yep, it's perfect. And if you want to come in on video, you can click the camera button. If not, that's fine too.
No, I'm ready today.
Excellent. Hey, great to see you. So what do you have? First of all, where are you calling from? I don't remember.
I'm out in Connecticut.
Ah, great. And what do you have to share with us this weekend?
Well, because, I did think about writing about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but I wrote about something that's happening in our country, and I'd rather read the poem and then talk about it after because it has a surprise ending.
Yeah, well, let's do that.
So we'll give them some intrigue. So this is called The Lie You Tell Yourself. Do you want to put it up? Should I give you a second?
It's up, but you should read your own copy because you won't be lined up right.
Okay, here we go. The lie you tell yourself. It doesn't happen right away. At first, you just dismiss the odd behavior, the strange remarks. You say, oh, he's had a bad day, or must have been rough at work. He's just tired. That's it. He's tired. Over time, you realize those behaviors are actually quite frequent. And though a rare apology is tossed your way, nothing changes. He's not getting better. He's not the man you thought he was, hoped he was. That's when it happens inside your head, where you start making allowances for all those little things that slowly add up to very big things, as big as the lies he tells. And you lie to yourself too, the very deepest betrayal of all, willingly do it for your man. The lie you told yourself didn't hurt until Liz Cheney stood up, said the election wasn't stolen, said that Trump is lying. It didn't hurt till you saw a woman willing to lose her position and power to protect the rule of law, protect the truth you buried when you told yourself the first lie.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that. And you mentioned it was a local story. What is it about that's local to you? Is Liz Cheney
Oh, no, I didn't. That was last time was local. But actually what I thought about this is that, it doesn't just apply to our country. Mm-hmm. This applies to anybody in any kind of government, and our whole world, the situation we're all in, precarious things happening everywhere. People have to be very careful to stand up when it's true, no matter what the cost. Mm-hmm. And so I really admired her for doing that, and I wanted to write about it.
Yeah, anytime anybody bucks their party in this country and goes in the opposite direction is worth applauding, because we're so partisan now that it's tough to have anything that's not just repeating the same side's talking points. So yeah, thanks so much for sharing.
And it's not just in government either, Tim. It's in any kind of corporation. If you work for a school district, a town, whatever, it's tough sometimes to stand up and say what you think is right.
It is,
because there's a consequence. You're going to lose your job. Mm-hmm. So that was on my mind. But thanks for letting me read it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for sharing it.
Bye.
Bye. That was Karen Warinsky with The Lie You Tell Yourself. Let's see. Let's go next to... next, we'll go up to Richard Westheimer. Hey, Richard, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's finally the beginning of summer garden season here, so I'm pretty happy.
Excellent.
But
Tell me a little
I
more.
will take a break from the great outdoors for poetry.
How big is your farm? How many acres do you have?
Oh, we have a lot of acres. I have 50 acres, but
Oh, wow.
we have about half an acre of gardens.
Oh, wow.
Gardens, orchards, and things like that.
And you've had that since the 70s, you said, or something like that?
1976.
Yeah, wow. I'm kind of jealous, Richard. I'd love to have a life like that.
Oh, it's a trade-off, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I worked in town, so I commuted 45 minutes each way, which in Los Angeles area is not much, but in Ohio it's a lot. And but it's a blessing, that's for sure.
So what poem did you want to share today?
Perhaps prayer is thinly scattered matter.
Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can find it. Prayer is... There we go. Yep. Okay. And what was this about?
This was about the news that Voyager 1, which entered what they call interstellar space in 2012, recently a paper was released that talked about that it's hearing a hum so it's largely beyond the influence of the sun. So what they're hearing, right? It's not actually hearing, but is a sort of not oscillating, but slightly wavering hum of background noise that is from the interstellar medium.
Yeah, the cosmic background web. It's amazing. Yeah.
And just sort of thinking about, that this satellite is now in that place that we see in the night sky.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Is that the one that has the golden record and all that stuff too?
Oh, I don't remember if that was which Voyager that was.
I don't either. But
the Carl Sagan mixtape.
And we had a poem about the song that's on there. There's a song, an Indian song. I can't remember the name of the singer, but it was a singer who only put out one record, and her voice is on the golden record for eternity. As long as it'll last, which is a very, very long time.
Right.
Just
and
amazing.
Of course, the record is analog, right? It's not digital, which is an interest. So the record in itself is a physical manifestation of human. Humans.
So let's hear this poem about prayer. Perhaps prayer is a thinly scattered matter. Go ahead. I'll put it up.
Perhaps prayer is thinly scattered matter. I hear the hum Voyager hears as a choir of chimes, a thrum, a rising and falling, quiet, ions, close enough to sing to one another, but too far apart to feel the fall into each other's orbits. I imagine each in unison reciting the same poem, chanting the same Aum, holding me like a jewel suspended among them. If I compose myself, I can, sitting earthbound, hear that Aum, or at least for a moment, I dimly grasp what believers mean when they speak of God. When in despair their eyes look skyward, or when they sway to prayer in a language my ancestors knew, or when grace showers upon them like interstellar dust.
Yeah, excellent poem. I really love that one. Thanks for sharing it, Richard. Perhaps prayer is thinly scattered matter.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate you.
Yep. And have a good rest of your day out in the farm.
I will do. Bye-bye.
Take care. Richard Westheimer from Batavia, Ohio, with Perhaps Prayer is a Thinly Scattered Matter. Who do we have left? We have, I think we'll just try to go a little bit over time if we have to and get to everybody. Let me read really quick the poem. Carlton Johnson, I believe, has a poem for us. Let's see, May 11th. And the Wastelands, maybe. Let's see. So there was an unknown person, but it wasn't Carlton Johnson. I wonder who that could be. whoever it was tried to call a few times. So Carlton used to be the only one with a blocked caller number, but now there are two. And they called a lot. I wonder if this is let's see, 2 seconds. Sorry, I'm just looking through. I don't look at the phone directory. Whoever this person is has called a lot. Like let's see, mostly Sundays. Never left a message, never been able to answer. I never noticed. I guess I assumed it was Carlton. Anyway, I'll get to the bottom of that later. Then let's go instead to Margie Tomsick. Hey, Margie, you are live on there.
Hi,
how you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Trying to get myself out of your other. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can. Yeah, you're live, and everything sounds great. If you want to come on video, just click the camera button. If not, that's fine too. Here you come.
Oh, okay.
Hello. So what do you have to share with us today?
Well, I have a poem about tragedy on Mother's Day. It's basically some of the same things that keep going up and down in the U.S. About really the juxtaposition between, gun violence and wanting to curb that, and then the whole idea of attitudes towards the Second Amendment and individual rights. So it basically goes through those. So in a nutshell, I'll read it so you can get to other people.
And is that an American
tragedy?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
I was just making sure I had the right poem up. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. An American tragedy on Mother's Day. It was Mother's Day weekend, and another storm of shooting shook America. A toxic cocktail stemming from a mixture of rising rage, economic chaos, and severed social ties, blended with an abundance of mental health lapses and weaponry. Firearms so plentiful, flowing well beyond the Second Amendment, firearms that could shoot to kill with precise precision. In a 48-hour time period, there were 9 mass shootings. In the first 5 months of 2021, 15,300 people died of gun violence, as recorded in the Gun Violence Archive. In the same year or time frame, there were 194 mass shootings in America. Shootings took place in big cities and small towns, from the Hyatt Regency Hotel to less traveled trailer parks, from Los Angeles, California to Newark, New Jersey, from the state of Washington to the state of Florida, with many states and cities in between. Shooting deaths transpired at birthday gatherings or unplanned locations, between friends, unexpected visitors, or total strangers. Sadness on repeat. So common, when we hear the news, we switch the channel on our television sets or click a different link on our computer laptops. So common, when we hear the news, we barely flinch or skip a beat or think. And as I opened the mail on the same weekend, another politician sent a letter requesting funds in support of the National Association of Gun Rights. In the letter, he refers to the radical liberals as gun grabbers, defines efforts to document gun-carrying patrons as unpatriotic, likens background check legislation to limiting individual freedoms. All this from a politician who graduated with a medical degree, supposedly to save lives, not take them. Today, the tornado of terror has subsided temporarily, leaving behind broken hearts, damaged property, scattered orphans, and families in turmoil, torn apart. Displaced freedom of the Second Amendment for Mother's Day. Thoughts and prayers for the families. Another day in America. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that, Margie. Important poem. Okay. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Yep, take care. It's Margie Tomsick with An American Tragedy on Mother's Day. Now, unless I can get, I believe, we call it. I'm making sure I get everybody. The only person we have is this unknown caller. So if you're the unknown caller, call in again, and I'll try to answer when you do, because I don't know who you are. I'll try Philip Chu one more time and see if we can get Philip on the line. If not, that'll be the end of the show. So let's see. Yep, Philip's still not there, unfortunately. So maybe next week you could do the same poem next week, or on Tuesday you could do on the Rattlecast open lines at the end after this week's guest. We always have an hour, up to an hour or so of open lines. You can share your news poems there as well as prompt poems or anything else. So feel free. Hopefully we can get in touch, Philip, then and share this poem, which was the life cycle of Magicicada septendicum, memorializing Benjamin Benneker and Avignon. Interesting. So I'd like to hear this poem. So hope you can call in on Tuesday maybe. So that means I believe we got everybody who wanted to join us, and the timing is perfect. It's 10 p.m. Let's do the old Saiku really quick, and then we'll wrap up the show. Now this week's Saiku, and this was an article from SciTech Daily. I'll pull up the article. Right here. This is new AI-inspired theory of dreaming. Our dreams' weirdness might be why we have them. And so it's always been a sort of almost a philosophical scientific mystery about why we dream and what purpose it serves. And there are a lot of different theories, but there's a new theory that came up that has to do with overfitting and the way that AI networks have to work. So what happens is if you're training an AI on something, it ends up being too narrowly focused on the task at hand unless you add some noise or cut out some details that don't make sense. So one technique that you have when you're training an AI algorithm to learn something is that you can't let it get focused. And so the theory here, which is just a speculative paper in Cell Press, is this idea that that's what our dreams are doing. And so our whole, as we walk through life during the day, we're sort of understanding the world and trying to learn from it and make a sort of a map of our place in the world, basically. But that map is pretty specific. Like if you drive to the car somewhere, you have certain movements that you do, and they're very specific to driving that experience and not generalized to the experience itself until you dream sort of a broader version of it. And I was thinking it reminded me of a time when I was in high school. There was some science Olympiad or something, and there were all these events. You had to solve puzzles and things. It was like a team competition, and one of them was a weird obstacle course type thing. And I was the only nerdy kid on the baseball team, and it involved running and hitting things. And so they were like, "Tim, you got to do this one." So I did it. I thought it would be so easy. One of the little stations, I don't even know what it had to do with science, but you're supposed to hit a ball off a tee through a hoop. And I thought, I can hit a ball off a tee through a hoop. But the bat they gave you, once I ran up and picked it up, was triangle shaped. And I was the worst at doing it because I was so trained to hit a baseball, a round ball with a round bat, that hitting a round ball with just a slightly triangular bat, I kept hitting in the wrong direction. I couldn't adjust. And that's the kind of thing that that AI does. It ends up becoming too fixed to the singular task. And so this new theory is that dreams are a way of expanding and generalizing our experiences throughout the day so that we can apply them to other things, if that makes sense. So that was a long explanation, but it was a kind of complicated article. I just love the art too. Once again, this is this is kind of how it goes. When you're programming AI, or maybe when we're programming our own brains to learn from our environment, we start by seeing a fish, and then we dissect it up into what it is and make categories for it and stuff. And then our dreams expand it into some sort of crazy land so that we can make more sense of the world. And I think it's actually interesting too. If you're imagining this as your head, then this is the right hemisphere and left hemisphere. I think that the crazy dream side is much more the right hemisphere, which is more holistic and makes connections and associations that the left, which is very focused, doesn't. So it's interesting to see it leaping from this side into weird abstraction. Anyway, I love the art too, and I love this article. It's very interesting. So this is my haiku, or saiku. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Strange dream, satellites skimming the surface of thought. Strange dream, satellites skimming the surface of thought. That is your saiku for today, and that was your rattle. I did it again. Poetry Spawn Live, not Rattlecast. Hope you enjoyed it. Great to hear all these poems. A lot of powerful stuff today. A lot of really interesting topics that were brought up. I really appreciate it. It's always so much fun doing this. Speaking of the Rattlecast, though, this week's guest in the Rattlecast is going to be Martin Willits Jr. Martin Willits has been in Rattle starting in around 2005. We've been publishing him. He's had 3 poems in Rattle. He's also a big participant in the Ekphrastic Challenge. He's won that a few times. His newest book is Harvest Time, and that's what we'll be focusing on. But he's the author of 25 books, I think I read. He's a librarian. He's done hand letterpress, book restoration. He is a musician. He's a gardener, like Richard Westheimer. He's got a lot going on. He was also at the burial for the My Lai massacre, I think he said. So that should be interesting to talk about a lot of different things. The prompt for this week was to write a reverse poem. And that is a poem where the lines can be read forward and backward. And you can repeat them so you can kind of show it. So you can show it going both ways. There's an example that we have on the website, which is Lynn Knight's poem, While Plum Blossoms Sweep Down Like Snow. So you can read that for an example. But that is your prompt to write in that form, which I've never done before. I haven't written the poem yet. It might be tricky. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to talking to Martin Willits and seeing what kind of poems you come up with. That is Tuesday, May 18th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Rattlecast number 93. I will see you then. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Goodbye.